Yes, we're up on the journey same way, we have to just take time and just relax. You understand what I'm saying? So conversation on the bus, so we're up on the bus and we're heading to Zion. You understand? And we're on a nice level ground, and the conversation on the bus is in regards to fathers and sons. You understand? And relationships. And obviously there's a father and son that's in the news right now. Hunter Biden, of course, Joe Biden, father and son, and in regards to corruption and everything else. So obviously as an outsider and not really getting, the fullness of everything, who better than Jessie Waters? Yeah, Jessie's a news reporter then in America, has his own show. Yeah, and Jessie always ruffles feathers. So anyway, I'm just going to hand you over to Jessie. He's just going to ask some questions just to clarify some things and give us some facts.
Fox News alert, we're learning what's in the Biden bribe document that the FBI has been trying to hide. And the allegation inside this document is explosive. Sources familiar with the document tell Fox News Digital that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were paid $10 million in bribes by Ukraine. This was while Joe Biden was vice president.
This is what I like about Jessie Waters. For some reason, well, it's not for some reason. He just goes straight at it. He asks the proper questions. Go on, Jessie.
A highly credible, confidential source had multiple meetings and conversations with a top executive at Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company where Hunter worked. And these conversations stretched for 5 years. And the source told the FBI about these conversations in June 2020. That's right as Joe Biden was wrapping up the Democrat nomination. The Burisma executive told the FBI's confidential source that Burisma had to pay the Bidens for help getting rid of the Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating Burisma for corruption. Quote, $5 million for one Biden, $5 million for the other Biden, the Burisma executive told the confidential human source. Now, people who've seen the document tell us that the $5 million payments were a kind of retainer agreement that Burisma had with the Bidens to deal with a number of issues, one of which was getting rid of this prosecutor. Other issues Burisma needed Biden's help with was help with oil deals. Now, the executives said they needed to pay Joe Biden because Hunter was, quote unquote, dumb and couldn't get much done by himself.
Wow.
People who've seen this document say it looks like a pay-to-play scheme. The confidential source said the Burisma executive told him he paid the Bidens in such a manner through so many different bank accounts that investigators would not be able to unravel this for at least 10 years. Now, this jives with how the Chinese paid the Bidens, laundering money through a maze of LLCs. Now, this document even refers to the big guy. And remember, Joe Biden's referred to as the big guy on Hunter's laptop. The Burisma executive told the confidential source that he didn't pay the big guy directly. And Joe Biden was asked about these bribe allegations today. Listen.
The bribery allegation, Congresswoman Nancy Mace says there's damning evidence in the FBI file that you sold out the country. Do you have a response to the congressional Republicans?
Where's the money? I'm joking.
Mr. President,
it's a bunch of malarkey.
Biden's answer is interesting, isn't it? Where's the money? He's almost teasing us, isn't he? Like it's a game, like it's a cat and mouse. Well, we know that at least $6 million of Chinese money went to 9 Biden family member bank accounts. So that's where the money went.
9 family members. Yes, Joe.
And we know with this document that the Burisma executive disguised the payments to Biden. But can Joe Biden really say he wasn't bribed if his entire family took the money? And he was the one that delivered the goods.
We're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said, I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a got fired.
Now, if you recall, Donald Trump was impeached for asking Ukraine to investigate this pay-to-play scheme. A CIA whistleblower close to Biden triggered it when he leaked the Zelensky phone call to Adam Schiff. Now, Donald Trump was impeached for asking for Joe Biden to be investigated. But today, not only is Joe Biden investigating Donald Trump, he could have him arrested any day. Joe Biden might arrest the guy who fingered him for taking bribes. It is now time to begin impeachment proceedings against President Joe Biden. Article 2 of the Constitution says a president may be impeached for treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. This credible allegation documents bribery. The House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer has pulled only one bank, records from one bank that the Bidens used, and found $6 million in Chinese bribes. There are a total of 11 banks that the Bidens used. Now, the House needs to hold impeachment hearings and gather all of the Biden family bank records and unravel the maze of dirty money that poured in from other countries in exchange for American policy decisions. American policy, our policy, isn't for sale. But if this is true, Joe Biden was selling out our country. And there's nothing more treasonous than that. Let's bring in my co-host on the 5, Judge Jeanine Pirro. So, Judge, this is just breaking, and this is $10 million combined to Joe Biden and to Hunter Biden. A very highly credible source was in a conversation with a high-ranking Burisma executive. What does this tell you, and where do you think this is going?
The high-ranking credible source was a source that the FBI used and paid over $200,000 to. So this is someone who has proved his credibility in the past, which is the reason why he was continually paid by the FBI. They don't pay people for information that doesn't pan out.
Sorry, but Judge Jeanine, you know, I like listening to her, you know. Sensible woman, you know. Yeah, and straight as well, you know. Yes, I am.
Let me tell you what struck me about this, Jesse. What struck me about this is that we heard about 10% for the big guy, but we only heard about that from the Hunter Biden laptop. That didn't come out until right before the election. That was part of the October surprise. This guy is talking in June of 2020 about the big guy.
Right.
So this is months before we even know there's a laptop. So there is corroboration of a big guy being involved here. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this is an organized criminal enterprise. Joe Biden is wrapping himself in the flag of the United States and all the power and prestige that goes with that. And he's going into these countries having been designated the point man on energy, which is where all the money is. And interesting, in Ukraine, where all the corruption is. And he then goes in there and he says, you know, I'm fighting corruption. And if you don't get rid of the prosecutor on the company where my son is making, you know, tens of thousands of dollars a month, sometimes 50, some say 80, then you're not going to get $1 billion of money. He is so dumb, Joe Biden. Yeah. So dumb. He admits it in January of 2018. Joe Biden is the bag man. Right. Hunter Biden, excuse me, is the bag man. Joe's a front man. And all you need is a forensic accountant to find this money. The problem with the 1023 is the only way we got it is when they threatened Christopher Wray with contempt. All right. There is evidence in this 2023 that even according to Bill Barr, they're either on the bus or off the bus. Figure this thing out and decide it. Don't slow walk it the way you're doing it with Hunter. This is corruption.
So right now you have a confidential human source telling the FBI this. You have Tony Bobolinsky, an eyewitness who is involved with this family's business. You have the Hunter Biden laptop, and you have the bank records that Comer uncovered for $6 million from China. If you add all that up together, Jeanine, isn't that enough to tell you that bribery may have been taking place in exchange for American policy? That is treasonous. Those are bribes, and you'd have to open up impeachment proceedings to get to the bottom of it.
Well, there's no question. We don't even know everything that's on that laptop. That laptop is a treasure trove of information for a prosecutor. It will be corroborating everything that we've been hearing about. Whether or not, you know, this is treason, this is pay to play at the very least. We already know that Joe Biden has already done that to benefit his son. But the telltale here is that Joe Biden lied to the American people over and over again and said, I didn't know anything about my son's overseas business dealings. Why? That he lied because of his consciousness of guilt. He knew he couldn't
And he
admit it.
obstructed because Treasury,
No
the
question.
FBI, and the Department of Justice have not cooperated with oversight.
Well, yeah, and they're slow walking Hunter Biden, where any local DA could prosecute him in a minute for what he's
It's
done.
been 5 years in Delaware.
Well, I don't know if they're waiting for the statute of limitations to run, but this is a real problem now, and Joe Biden has to be investigated. And as you said, right now he's investigating Donald Trump. Ain't that interesting?
That's ridiculous.
Scary.
Judge Pirro, thank you so much.
Yeah, good to be with you, Jesse.
Oh, wow. Well, for those of us on the bus who's trying to get an understanding of what is actually taking place in America in regards to father and son, I think it's all laid out there. You know, that's why I like Jessie Waters, man. Yeah, Jessie just goes and asks her questions, you understand? And he's got the evidence there as well. So, you know, the people who see that and hear the information, you know, you come to your own conclusions, you understand? Because we're not forced nothing here, you know, but there's right and wrong, you get what I say? So, like we said, you know, we're up on our journey and, yeah, the bus full up, you know, but it can't full. So anyway, respect to each and everybody, you know, tell up on yourself and, boy, let's hope peace and love reign upon the earth, you get what I say? And as always, never surrender your dreams, constantly work towards your goals. Believe in yourself, have faith in the Creator. With a little bit of power, which is the willpower, you can make it, you know. Don't make nobody tell you say you can't make it. 2023, you know. Yeah, man. And what was hidden in the dark is now coming to light. You understand what I say? And once again, we say respect going out to Mr. Jessie Waters, who ruffles feathers and answers questions. So we dip on me ride, you know. So, you know, we see you on the next stop. A little more from the article. Bless up.